Welcome to this edition of What the Fuck Happenings in the YouTube area from the Inmendum perspective. Don't really like that either. Anyway, yeah, so we have whatever. Well, I guess we'll do the drama stuff first, maybe. Not really much of it. The evil fake Sagan is back. Apparently he was doing his little truck driver thing, and so he made an hour-long video doing whatever, fake Saganisms. And they're all kind of just, cliches now. And it just doesn't seem like as impressive a character as the old fake Sagan. But who knows? He might have a big comeback. Revival. Something like that. Might find his old form or something. But yeah, I think it's all dated, that's all. I just think this, he seems to have this old school kind of drama. He even uses like old school words. I can't remember exactly what they were, but they were like 1942 kind of language. Stuff my grandmother used to say. So anyway, in his jargon, well, first it's the false premise kind of thing of the idea of saying something, and then if you say it enough times, it'll mean something. Like it'll mean maybe even the opposite of what you're saying. So he was just talking about his relevancy and how he's irrelevant, and pointing out the different ways he's irrelevant, and then doing that by pointing out how relevant he must be because of everybody's talking about his irrelevancy. Or something like that. So it's it reminded me of the Elephant Man. Whatever. I'm not irrelevant. Just this plea for something. And yeah, YouTube is just a weird place. I mean, irrelevancy is almost the appropriate thing to be, because the content is so kind of dumb. I mean, the popular content is not very deep, and from my perspective anyway, I don't find it terribly fascinating. And but fake Sagan is trying to just do the personality thing. This is his social life, and that was one of the critiques I thought was kind of funny, because he critiqued my life, my personal life, which he knows nothing about, and my ability to get along with people. I don't have enemies. I don't have to. I haven't had a real fist fight in 30 years. I mean, I don't have to do any of that stuff in my life. So I clearly am less dysfunctional than you with people. And when I did get out and work, I didn't have a problem being quite social with people. Even the people in this town. I've fought the town on a number of issues, and they all like me as a person. Some are, I'm irritating. Even the cops treat me very well most of the time. Most of the cops, anyway, the ones that know me, right? And I don't have an issue. So, But anyway, I don't want to get into the specifics of his stupid attacks, because by his theory, you see, if you can make any kind of stupid accusation about somebody, and then they defend themselves against the accusation, you've validated the accusation. So that's his logic. So if somebody bothers to counter-argue, then somehow you've won the argument, because they're defending themselves, so therefore it must be true. Because people only defend themselves when you're not lying about them. They're only upset when you're not lying. Yeah, okay. It's a theory. I think it's shit, though. I think it's like his God theory. It belongs in Lithuania or something. It should stay there. But anyway. So, even responding to him now is some sort of a demonstration of some sort of substance or meaning. And, sorry. So he spent most of the video feigning some sort of concern for Paul's ego. And that's what I would call it. And funnier still was the fact that he read so much into The Amazing Atheist saying good luck on his video, which I thought was kind of funny because, yes, it's just sort of, you get a nostalgic thing. Fake Sagan's back. Yes, his life is kind of shitty, and here he might have an opportunity to improve his station in life, and somebody wishes him good luck, and he, you know, takes it like it means something. Besides, hey, you know, I don't want you dead. And the funny thing is he thinks he pwned somebody in the last month somewhere. Like one of his videos actually got to somebody or said something that was a secret. You know, that's the funny part, right? I mean, oh, we've revealed that, you know, TJ might have looked at underage girls or boys, you know, on the internet. Wow, what a surprise. Oh, nobody would have thought that. Yeah, I'm just sorry. It's like people have forgotten history entirely. I mean, not even long ago, you know, just a couple of years ago kind of history. So anyway, I mean, I know this is, you know, very good drama. So then you got to, like I say, the accusations. So yeah, he did some shit about how I'm a shitty person or something, in some sort of social context, and I'm not a shitty person. I'm not an unnice person. You go interview people and they'll tell you that Gary's a really nice person. He's really helpful and generous, and I've never wronged anybody. Never done a malicious wrong thing to anybody. So it's just such a crock of shit. Now, certainly, it's valid to say I have a personality disorder because that's what I was diagnosed with. But it's not a personality disorder like I hurt people or I do damage to people or I harm people. No, my personality disorder is that you fuckers make me sick. That's the disorder. So, anyway. But again, it's just the idea that this crap comes up in the first place at all is just irritating. So, yeah, so it was sort of related to the Paul's Ego video. And yes, this video was a little bit, you know, incoherent. But, you know, Paul's been through a lot, so to speak. He's transitioning, and so yes, it wasn't one of his best in terms of getting to the point, which was, I don't dislike Gary. That's all he could have said. He could have just said, I got nothing against Gary, you know. And I can say, I got nothing against Paul. I don't wish him any ill, you know. But we can both critique each other in terms of saying, you know, some aspect of our engagement with the world is, you know, something we're not sure about. So I might just say I'm not sure about, you know, the content of the Drunken Peasants. Again, it's, yes, as shows go, okay, fine, but I don't know if it's a, you know, just, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't do anything for me personally, but you know, and he can say that, okay, I'm philosophically fringe, or he could argue that, you know, there's some something about what I'm saying that is in some way, like I said, I don't think he could really win the argument. So I don't know if, you know, he's being fully. I mean, it's just point. You know, you can say you don't like something, and you know, it doesn't mean that it's not true or that it's not a valid argument. You can just say I don't like that to be true. So I want to just, I'll play in my field. I don't want to. You know, pretend I live in a completely whole world where I actually have to take responsibility and all that kind of stuff. And he does have that nihilist element anyway, so that's kind of his escape, is, you know, keep it simple, stupid, or keep it local, you know, this kind of nonsense. So anyway, this isn't the, well, there really isn't anything to say. Like I said, there's no, if I get into defending my personal life, then I'm giving these people more power by just saying that somehow the issue is my personal life, and it's really not the subject, and it's not the reason why I'm on YouTube. So I'd say it's none of your business, blah 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 blah, and just leave it at that. And I would just request that people understand that, you know, Fake Sagan doing psychology is about as stupid as Fake Sagan doing theology, which is, you know, you read it in a dumb book somewhere. Anyway, Um, yeah, so I guess that's enough of that. I didn't watch Brett Keane videos. They're just, it's just not compelling. He's it's a silly definition of religion. He thinks he has an argument against atheism because there's bad people in the world who aren't religious, and therefore they are the poster child for atheism. So if there's a mass murderer somewhere who believes he can talk to dogs, but he doesn't believe in God, then somehow that's atheism at work in the world. And clearly, no, that's just a lack of philosophy in a lot of ways. They're not only they're only not Christian, they're also not philosophers or thinkers. So you really can't blame people who would actually label themselves atheists unless they're actually people who have made a commitment to that philosophy and said, yes, I'm an atheist, and I'm also rational and not psychotic. So unless a person's making those stipulations, I don't think it's really fair to say, oh, let's define the whole group. But everybody this is all we got now, right? It's every group is now defined by fringe characters in that group. The Democratic Party is now Hillary Clinton. But somehow the Republicans aren't Donald Trump. But anyway, I don't want to get into all that kind of crap, but I just mean it's this whole argument, with fringe characters from groups, and then you decide, okay, feminism is bad because some feminists are crazy. Black Lives Matters is evil because some members are jackasses. Oh, okay. So that's the way the world works now. And it's just the way the world works now, so there's no point in even belonging to anything because people will just exploit the fact and said, but they don't hold these standards for, like, priests that molest children or some other thing. You don't see the Catholics taking any responsibility for that, or the religious people taking any responsibility for how many religious people are flawed. Anyway. Yeah, it was just the world's just made out of idiots, so that's really the point. I mean, I said it in one of my last videos, is that, people are stunningly stupid and dishonest and crazy, and that's most people, factually, unfortunately. Anyway, I mean, they're a combination of those things in different degrees, but they have one of those sicknesses in some substantial way, in terms of how they compile understanding and convey it to other people. I mean, I don't really care if they're crazy in the sense that they turn the light switch off 758 times. I don't really care about that kind of stuff. It's the stuff they think and talk that's the problem. Anyway. Alright, so I guess that's it for... I don't think there was any other drama besides, well, the Pierrot's, still making all these little raggy, useless comments, but I've responded to some of those, and just no point. It's, not legitimate enough, not meaningful enough to merit a response. Ha ha. Yeah. And, I'll just go about my business. So... I guess I might as well get into what I did this week. It's a 3-question thing. It's, moving right along, see if that goes anywhere. I was thinking about the idea of a public room and people conversing about stuff that means something, but again, I don't even know if there's an audience for it. And because what people find entertaining, like I say, if you go look at the videos that people watch, they're shit. I don't even know how to make something as boring as most of the crap that's on YouTube that gets a lot of views is. So, I don't get it. I mean, you just do a bunch of intros and a bunch of blah, 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 and a bunch of and somehow that's a show. I don't get it. That somehow feeds people in some way. So So the other thing that's running through my head, I mean, I've been doing the physics stuff, and yeah, I made some real progress this week, so I think I'll do some starting over kind of explaining videos and see if I can just go step by step, because there are people of different levels of understanding, and it's not, it really isn't that daunting to once you get it. I mean, anything you're going to try to teach or explain, you take some practice doing that before you get it. I mean, that's why they pay professors real money, is because they have to figure out how to organize the content to make it more absorbable. And frankly, they don't do a very good job in a lot of cases, to tell you the truth. Anyway, it's just saying, in hindsight, we have to watch some of these scientific lectures more than once to figure out what the guy's actually getting to. Anyway, so maybe that'll end up being true about my videos, but I'd like to make it simpler than that, do a better job than that. So anyway, so the other thing that it's been floating around for years is a once in a while kind of conversation. Not only the idea of trying to figure out how to format real debate and have it, something that's a consumable philosophy show, but the idea, the real pragmatic or practical thing of trying to maybe even create a third party, at least help in organizing one, around just the simplest of themes. Just keep it simple. Don't have any expansive, what do they call that, New Deal kind of agenda. Have a more limited New Deal in terms of fixing the democracy first, and fixing the idea of having honest politicians and representation that means something, and having more of our ideology represented in government rather than our geography and all these instant runoff voting kind of things. These mechanisms that'll enhance even having some direct democracy, more federal style referenda, without the watching the bad examples like California where they allow referendums to become law, but the more rational example of maybe having referendums that are statements of the public, that the politicians can choose to ignore, that kind of thing, or write better legislation. I mean, obviously legislation written in paragraph form is not likely to be careful enough and exact enough and sophisticated enough to deal with anything real in the world. So unless you're saying something stupid like tax him more and tax me less as a referendum, yeah, they're not going to work. But anyway, that's getting, even just mentioning the subject, you end up into all the complexities of what this really does take a little bit of scientific effort. Like, smart people have to engineer a good civilization, and there's been no effort to put smart people in charge, and that's a real problem. So I could just throw in there, I mean, there's still people who think Bernie Sanders would have been a great candidate against Trump, and I just think he would have got buried under his own, delusionary, money comes from nowhere kind of, this whole idea of free education is just such a lie. It's just so crazy to talk about free education when, every public school student, costs everybody $10,000 a year. It's not free. That's the average. I suppose a little more than that now. It's not anywhere close to free. Somebody's got to pay for it, and the people who are really paying for it are the people who don't even have children. And that's again this kind of cheating of the game, where the majority gets to say, what vices are going to get taxed more, and they get to say, who's going to pay for what certain popular activities. And having children isn't as popular as it used to be, and if they really had to have a fair fight on that subject, maybe some of these built-in subsidies for childbearing would be capable of extracting people from that obligation to finance other people's reproductive choices. And then that gets into this whole pet subject, which is another one I've recently become more aware of, just how something better has to be. It's just terrible that they don't really make people pay any taxes to have pets, and so there's no funding for anything to clean up the mess that's produced as a consequence. All the stray and feral cats, it's really bad. It really is bad. And it's just horribly cruel, and they think they fixed it because they do this no-kill thing, and that's like, oh, we've solved the problem somewhere because we, keep cats in cages for months, and and then as some sort of loving gesture, we'll strip them of their sexuality and throw them back on a street somewhere, and say we've done them a good deed, and it just seems like the exact opposite of a good deed, as far as I can tell. So anyway, that's probably enough for this segment, and I'll come back later and try some more stuff, some kind of something, and we'll see if I have anything to add. Yeah, always just, it's sort of in the to add on to the fake Sagan irrelevancy. I mean, it's not just about being irrelevant. I mean, yes, there's a real sense that conversational videos are becoming less and less relevant, that philosophy in general is less relevant, and it would be there needs to be something to stimulate a little more interest, but doing that without just becoming clowns is the trick, because who wants to, don't want to have to it's like there's probably a cliche for that, but yeah, you don't really want to get blown up with your own landmine or something like that. Yeah, I mean, can't make the, if you're going to be making something functional by making the content poisonous, some way of describing that, can't compromise too much. And it's clearly not something not something I would personally be good at, is figuring out how to do this balancing act of compromise, because I really don't like any of it. I don't even like the idea that people are putting some pressure on me to fix my hair or do some other kind of bullshit. You're almost like, what is that about? Why this interest? Why does this concern anybody? Why is that part of the show? It's hard to imagine, hard for me to understand, especially coming from people who don't even show themselves on videos. I mean, it's just really, to talk about somebody else's appearance when you're not appearing is really bizarre. But everything is really bizarre. I mean, it's all a little bit, yeah, something's not, it's twisted the wrong way. It's not balanced. It's jittery. Yeah, it's got noise in it. Something's broken. And anyway, so, yeah, so maybe more coming. Alright, back with the, whatever, traditional add-on of some kind. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so eventually this podcast will turn into something, but it, it really has to be driven by some sort of some sort of real pointing direction. You know, because it's well, some of this YouTube drama shit coming back is, yeah, whatever, and that's just kind of a waste of time. But clearly that's interesting to people. You know, everybody trying to maneuver some way to catch people in their deceptions and their, you know, whatever, what they call that in the Clinton era. You know, the something of personal destruction or something. And that crap doesn't, we already know it doesn't matter, right? It just doesn't matter what crimes anybody commits. I mean, it just doesn't grab 'em by the pussy. I mean, it's just, you can't do or be guilty of any crime that matters. And like I said, this was sort of learned a long time ago about this whole subject. Okay, so Fake Sagan has made a second, like, hour-long, 41-minute long video exposing the amazing atheist lies. And of course he doesn't expose anything at all dramatic. He just replays the same clip now for the third time. I mean, Brett Keane did it twice, I think. Fake Sagan at least once. Maybe twice already. So it's the third rehash in just a month of the blog TV thing, you know, where Fake Sagan is being exactly what he accused Paul's ego of, which is, you know, being a fake brother, you know, doing his jive talking, which is more of a, it seems to me more, well, it's not that, I mean, to me that it was more interesting as a character defect than TJ's statement that he dated a 14-year-old. When, who wouldn't think TJ would do that? And Fake Sagan was supposed to have been his friend. I mean, that, you know, it just makes it kind of almost ironic. I mean, yeah, TJ did a lot of blog TVs, and, you know, he was on for hours, like, and he'd go to sleep, and people would still be hundreds of people at the Amazing Atheist Blog TV, hundreds of people watching TJ sleep. And that's when we all knew, I can't play this. You know, YouTube isn't going to work for me, because I don't know what that is. What exactly is there about this gigantic, fat, obnoxious, rude shithead that works? And somehow, whatever we're doing, oh, forget it. You know, you can be a college professor, Professor Anton, a conference report, the Modern Mystic, terribly intelligent. All these people, nobody could give a shit. You know, I mean, they're referenced as somehow connected, and some of them only because, through me, you know, because I went out and looked for smart people on the internet. It's just really funny. You know, this revisionist history thing, or whatever you want to call it, this idea that people completely lose all, you know, the fish story scenario. You know, the fish is all, you know, oh yeah, that was a whale, and it was blah, blah, and all this, oh yeah, that was the coolest times ever, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it's just a total reconstruction of events. You know, I mean, so, you know, Fake Sagan, once again, he keeps rehashing this event in his life that just made him out to be a crazy person, and he just is like, this is proof that I'm not crazy. No, it's not. And even using being drunk as an excuse. You know, even when I was drunk, I knew I'm not going to pull a gun out and stick it to somebody's head. I mean, shit. There's stuff you don't do when you're drunk. You know, it's like you don't stick your penis in a light socket or something. I mean, there's lots of stuff you don't do. Oh, I mean, so even that's such bullshit. But I mean, maybe I'm not remembering things correctly, but as I remember the events of the evening, Fake Sagan does the put the gun to his head thing. Then he puts the gun, you know, down on the table or someplace, and then he pulls out his knife, and then he starts doing the knife carving thing. He ends up with this terrible mess of a wound, all right, all bloodied up. People are tearing up shirts to wrap on his arm. So by the time he did put the gun to TJ's head, because TJ said, All right, fakey, it's all over. Okay, you're gonna have to go nappy now. Okay, the show's over. You don't have to do any more dramatic, insane shit. Well, anyway, and then Fake puts the gun to TJ's head. He's got his other arm is gushing blood. I mean, this is, yeah, I mean, it's an event, but obviously this is not a guy that would be that difficult. Not only, number one, to find that unsettling, you know, to find this is like a horrible nuisance. It's like buying a dog and you find out it's, you know, and he's your pet, and then you find out it's radioactive or something. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a put-off. But anyway, yeah, so I can't see that disabling him could have been that difficult in the sense that, I mean, he had to be pretty, he's a little bit drained of blood and drunk. And maybe doing whatever, I mean, he used to do videos, you know, doing drugs. This was Fake Sagan, you know. You know, I'm proud of it. And then he's ridiculing other people's drug use. Just, you know, it doesn't make any sense. So much of it just doesn't make any fucking sense. So anyway, I read the comments on the, well, no, I didn't read the comments. I scanned the comments, and the Amazing Atheist made a comment on Fake Sagan's video about the Amazing Atheist, and he didn't really change anything either. You know, just this, they're changing the word is and the. You know, no, you said the sentence wrong. It was, I is an asshole and you is a weirdo. Or wased. Anyway, yeah, the only thing you get out of like the drunken peasants is, you know, they read some poetry or something, you know, SJW poetry, and the word cummed. I cummed. Anyway, it was funny, but that was, you know, 1 out of 7 hours, you know, 1 millisecond of charcoal. Anyway. Yeah, but, you know, and then TJ, but he is kind of implying that, oh, no, I don't recall any of this kiddie porn stuff. You know, he did videos defending pedophiles, first off. And clearly, you know, in the legal context, is that, you know, we're way too hard on them. And clearly he made videos indicating that there's something perfectly natural in it all. Almost like his rape arguments. You know, seemed pretty obvious that it has to be somebody who's, you know, got some sort of inclination that they're defending, rather than somebody who has any kind of distance from the subject. Well, like I say, he actually told stories. I mean, he told, well, anyway, I'm not going to go through it all. What's the talk about TJ's sexuality, for fuck's sake? You know, this is in the context of the whole banana video shit, and the boiling oil, and all the other kind of crap, and why, you know, being attracted to kids would be the least of TJ's perversions. I mean, in the perverted, the totally perverted sense. You know, the idea of pouring hot oil on your penis is, to me, a lot less rational than being attracted to girls that are too young. I mean, if I was going to put one in a category of wacky, yeah, you know, it's the other one that's wacky. So anyway, but yeah, you know, I just don't. So yes, so this is what, you know. Of course, this will get people's attention, and oh, it's the drama's back, and isn't it all fun? And yeah, for a second I was, you know, this was like, oh yeah, it's like the good old days, and then you just remember, no, they weren't the good old days. They were the stupid waste of fucking goddamn time days. Just pointless, stupid, bantery bullshit back and forth about who's ugly, who's stupid, who's blah blah blah. Just complete and absolute bullshit. Yeah, so it's all kind of depressing. Yeah, now. But it's not a big deal, right? Because I haven't watched Brett Keane video. You know, yes, we played with Brett Keane for a little while, and then he's totally ignorable. You know, you don't watch a video, and then you just don't have to be irritated by him. It's really easy. And you know, Fake disappeared for a couple of weeks, and it was, yeah, out of sight, out of mind. So that worked for me, and so I just have to do that, because I'm just, the part that's irritating is there's hundreds of comments, and these people that comment on my video, I see them there, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? And then they're saying, oh, I loved TJ back in the day, and I did that. And I was like, oh, God, you people. This tripe, I mean, this rehashing of a video he already did. I mean, how many times is he gonna make the same video? I mean, can we expect him to make another video where he freeze frames my face and says, "Gee, look how stupid he looks"? I definitely have one of those. I can look pretty good or I can look pretty bad. It just depends on the moment. In space time, which doesn't exist either. But anyway, so I don't know. I see no function in letting that world invade my agenda. But I also see no function in the agenda not working towards something more consumable. But consumable by who, is the question. And is there medium or media somewhere on planet Earth where you can try to have better conversations, higher level than trash talking and rehashing? Because no. I'll go play Angry Birds or something. I mean, I just don't see any. Just can't find a will to live, a YouTube life doing this. Explaining how no, I haven't beaten my wife, and no, I haven't done all the, just people make accusations you have to defend yourself against. And they're just the complete. I mean, Fake Sagan was complaining that they used the term meth head on some wiki made by the drunken peasant fans or something. They make apparently, Encyclopedia Dramatica style pages of cheap shots, and but it's funny how Fake Sagan seemed bothered being called a meth head, when, like I said, he was proudly every other kind of drug head. I can't make sense of that much. Except that, yes, okay, there's a stereotypical reaction, but you'd think Fake Sagan he could even rise above that and say, well, look, I did meth, but I did it as a head. I mean, I did it, smart, not dumb. Like heroin, you know what I mean? These people can use heroin smart, not dumb. But anyway, and, they can do it for years that way. Anyway, not the point. So I have the same kind of reactions though, because I'm just so sick of these, just all this cheap shit about, just stuff like, again, where, well, I really don't want to have to dig up my personal life and throw it on YouTube to prove an accusation to be a lie. And it really shouldn't be my obligation. I mean, nobody should be expecting that to be taken something we have to do here, to maintain any credibility. And that somehow if you don't defend yourself, then the lie is true. If you don't argue it, if you don't state emphatically it didn't happen that way. But I'm not going to do that. What I'm gaining knowledge of, just as it doesn't matter if it is true, it won't matter. It really won't. No matter what they made up, to the people who find some use or value in me, it wouldn't make any difference. And yeah, but you still don't like it. Yeah, that's the downside, is I still don't like the being misrepresented. I don't like being lied about. It just doesn't seem right. I don't lie about other people. Why the fuck are they lying about me? That's just so fucking rude. But that's the internet, right? I mean, all these raggy and shitty and lazy people with their lazy comments and their lazy remarks. And you're saying, you know, I never lived like this. I don't go on other people's videos and just talk stupid trash. You know. And, yeah, so there's nothing much to, you know, no point in arguing it to death, but it is just a weird environment. You do find it disappointing. And, you know, that people are so used to doing it. It's like I said, I didn't even go back to the Paul's Ego video, but even when he was making a video that was sort of, oh yeah, okay, yeah, Gary, there's that, you know, no hard feelings, no, you know, we don't have a problem, right? But he just starts talking about my personal life in ways that, why even bringing it up? Why are you talking about me being a hermit or something? Do I have to really qualify those words? Do I have to explain, you know, the history again, which I've already done in videos that, you know, fortunately are hidden among the 4,000. But yeah, I don't want to, I'm not a poster child for that. And I've even made the argument that I'd probably like to talk about it because it'd probably be something that would do some people some good. You know, people who have struggle with this similar conditions, to you know, what my experience was. But you just can't afford to do it. There's no reward for being honest about your real life, because people use it against you. And they'll use it against you and be rewarded for it, or not be punished for it, or however you want to describe it, but they'll be the winners. And certainly this is all YouTube's fault, because yeah, they just let all these random trolls control the media. It's like you can't even, I don't open public rooms as often as I would, just because, yeah, who wants to deal with it? If I post a link, then all the assholes show up, and I just waste my time fighting off the trolls. But yeah, why does YouTube give them the power to mute me in my own room? Why do I have to unmute myself in my own room? I mean, stupid things like you just say, how is this even? Why would this even exist as something you could do with this tool? I mean, certainly it's still there because YouTube likes it for some reason. They like the trolls to decide who speaks and who doesn't speak. Seems obvious. Yeah, it's, you know, it can't be a, it's not a, what do they call it? It's not a bug. You know, it's a feature. It's, you know, because they don't fix it, and it's kind of overtly and obviously disruptive. And they like it for some reason. So, they want it that way. Right, so that's probably enough that crap. Yeah, but, yeah, I don't have much to say. I mean, there's, you know, I'm not really interested in doing drama videos. And you know, and especially, you know, over just, really just cheap shit talk. You know, like Fake Sagan, you know, implying that I'm this, you know, he says in one of the comments something comparing me to a serial killer, and you know, and then he said overtly I'm a shitty person and all these kind of things, and you're saying, oh, well, why? I don't need to defend myself against that kind of crap. You know, well, because I'm, you know, honest. And, you know, I tell people that I hate your guts when I hate their guts. Yeah, that makes me a shitty person? I don't think so. But anyway, yeah, I don't need to defend myself to these people. Again, I don't need to defend myself against the accusations being made by a drug addict, notorious, lifelong kind of thing, a wife beater, okay, a thug, yeah, someone who sticks guns to other people's heads, drunk or not, like I said, you know, I've been drunk. I've been pass out drunk. You know, where you pass out because you're drunk. You know, I've been as drunk as you can get drunk, and no matter how drunk you are, there's some things you won't do. You know, you might wear diapers, you might poo yourself, you might do a lot of things, but yeah, there's some things you just know you don't do. And sticking guns to people's heads, yeah, sensible people don't do that. People who aren't crazy don't do that. So anyway, yeah, so sorry. I'll try to keep the drama to a minimum. I mean, I'll respond when I have to, I suppose. But it really just doesn't. I guess what I'm learning here is it is such lame drama. Like I said, the redundancy of what Fake Sagan just did, which is point to the same video and play the same video again a second time. And he even did there's different kinds of pedophile. There's pudophiles and pedophiles and, diaperophiles and whatever. He has all these little categories. The very fact that he even has knowledge of that bullshit, bad on him, right? I mean, if you know all the categories of pedophile, well, you're probably, whoops, it's kind of knowledge you don't want to have. Like, why did you do that research? It's like knowing the length of the average horse penis. Why would you need to know that? I mean, why? Where did you go collect that information? Anyway. Yeah. Yeah. So, but like I said, otherwise it's still drama. It's just, like I said, who wants to go over old, redundant, who the possibly could care kind of drama? I mean, and what's the difference anyway? Because if I had absolute proof that TJ, did something almost, something really overtly, like more than just looked at pictures. I don't know, like sent emails to, underage girls or something. Wouldn't matter. What would it change? It wouldn't change anything. It might only change whether he gets on CNN or something, right? Or it might only change who is going to risk their reputation by affiliating themselves with him. So yes, those kind of things, business choices might get affected, but certainly won't have anything to do with his YouTube popularity. And that was, like I said, was already known way back in the day. Like I said, TJ slept. I mean, he didn't even sleep where you could see him sleeping. You just saw the big lump, asleep. Or he fell asleep right on the desk. And you didn't even see much. You just saw the lump. And hundreds of people would watch the lump sleeping. Yeah. We're all pwned. I'm totally pwned, right? What do you do with that? Yeah, you got me. I have no defense. Yes, I absolutely suck. Because, yeah, I can't get 300 people to show up, when I'm trying my hardest. So anyway, that's all. So I guess that's it. Yeah, there's not, it's the same thing. I mean, this has been a problem for a couple of years, this conversation about trying to create better content for intellectuals, better food. But yeah, that's the thing of it too, is you really want it to be something that, where you could scrape the bottom of the human bowl and you would actually be pushing them up too. You'd elevate the entire human conversation. By creating some sort of mechanism that interests people, not too tedious, not too deep, not too many big words, but that it's actually saying something, where something actually real is happening, some sort of reality television that has something to do with reality. Yeah, that would be so cool. it needs funding. Yeah, I guess that's, I don't know. It's the kind of thing where I just don't have, as one individual, I just don't think I can pull that off. Without doing something. Like I said, maybe I could create a life of some sort of secret drama, and I could build up a whole scenario, and then 3 years later do a haha, see this, it was all a, I could do one of those fake news stories kind of things. Fake. That was something else fake he did. What was it? Oh yeah, in the last video he did this whole ending thing on Trump, and it was kind of funny. He was talking about how everybody loves Trump, the whole world voted for Trump, the whole blah blah, and like fake Sagan knows Trump actually lost the election by millions of votes, and like this wasn't any kind of, we're all for him kind of thing, and apparently he's just making the argument again, back to this stupid argument in my opinion, that there was no choice, we had to vote for the the facilitator, the enabler for the Republican Party to shove Christianity into our laws again, for us to go hugely, take giant steps backward in terms of back on the Reagan road to disaster. And that was just fear mongering. This, like, the Hillary is coming, like she really was Alex Jones's nightmare, possessed by cockroaches and demons. No. And we were going to see the cockroaches and the demons coming out of all this wacky policy that the Republicans are going to, put on Trump's desk, and Trump isn't going to have the balls to veto any of it. And so you're going to get what you deserve. And but the very idea that he would, make this argument somehow, well, number one, he's not even smart enough to know that, relationships with family are made out of all kinds of cheats. I mean, it's nepotism. He seems to understand words like racism, but he doesn't seem to understand words like nepotism, and how they should be, your family should have to earn your respect just as well as anybody else. There's no reason why they should be given some sort of special latitude, and it makes you just kind of a hypocrite if you'll allow your family members to be mass murderers or pedophiles or something, and you'll do nothing about it, and then you'll be a social justice warrior for the rest of the world or whatever. I mean, that's sort of bullshit. So what's the logic in any of that? And the idea that there isn't something, I mean, the vote against anything decent that Trump represented, there was just nothing decent about anything about Trump. Not a decent word came out of his mouth, not a decent thought. Unless you think I love cops is the definition of, oh yeah, that's a decent guy. No, there's just nothing decent. A billionaire who didn't earn it, handed to him by daddy, President of the United States. And I'm not supposed to judge people who voted for that. I mean, that's what people vote for in Mexico or something. That's not something Americans, intelligent people shouldn't be falling for that shit. Oh, the billionaire's coming to rescue us. Please. The billionaire has gone bankrupt 6 times. Or 12, depending on how you look at it. It certainly made a lot of other people bankrupt. Anyway. So yeah, I don't want to argue it, but it's just, there's just no, like I said, it's just, I'm already, discouraged enough about the quality of the conversation on YouTube, but then when I see, these commenters, like I said, it just, I mean, I just lose all, there's just so little to have respect for on this medium. There's just so little. And so I should just disable comments, and I can just pretend I don't know any of these people. Yeah. That's probably the best thing to do, because then anybody new who shows up, I won't know they're an asshole who's watching my videos, who's watching Brett Keen's videos or something, and I won't have to, figure out how that's even possible. Or, yeah, it won't irritate me. Yeah, that's it. It won't irritate me. So anyway, I will refrain as best possible, engaging myself in responses to the gross, stupid, inane, moronic, pitiful accusations made by assholes who know nothing about me. Apparently. Because, yeah, I really have, lived a very good life. I'm, I'm really a nice person. Fuck you. Oh, he says fuck you to people. Okay, yeah, that I do. So if that's the definition of a bad person, I'm a bad person then. But yeah, beyond that, I haven't done anything to anybody except say, I don't like you. But you get what you deserve. Yeah, that's, oh man, what a fucker. He said, get what you deserve. Holy shit. Yeah. So, I hope you get what you have earned. Yeah, exactly what you deserve. Yeah. Till next time. And such. Like I said, I'm working on stuff. Got all kinds of push. It's yeah, any day now, things are just gonna get wow. And Mindum Chow is gonna get wow, amazing. Could happen. Oh, could.